one Sunday. I know that very next day, a good friend of mine, our health commissioner, kind of instructed or gave advice and counsel to the administration to possibly shut down the beaches because it was just an influx. I was there. I saw resources being taken away because there was something going on with a bag of guns, I think, that was discovered, and the two guys on the ATV. It just felt like a lot of resources were being concentrated at the beach at that time, and then were being diverted from the rest of the city. So anyway, they pulled the trigger. They closed the beaches. A lot of people are not happy about that. There are some people that kind of say, all right, I understand that, but shouldn't there have been other ways to kind of do it? You brought up an interesting suggestion when we were just talking out in the lobby that I'd never really thought about. I'd like you to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me be the first to say we want people to be responsible wherever you are in the city.
Yeah.
We have over 50 parks.
Yeah.
Right? And we know there was a massive basketball jamboree that happened a few weeks back,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
We want to have recreational activities, but do it responsibly. If you're going to close the beach or the parking lot or the roadway, there's a responsible way to do it. Number one, they did it illegally.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're speaking of the administration.
Totally illegally.
Okay.
And I have no problem saying that. I told Mr. McCain, who's a good friend of mine, that was not done properly. You have to issue an executive order.
Yeah.
There's a state statute. I won't try to quote it now, but you can simply type in, Google search Michigan City beach closure executive order, and you will see how it's supposed to be.
Now, let me ask you this, because you're a lawyer, because that did come up, and one of the things that I was explained to me that under the auspices of what we are now, which is a pandemic, that executives, whether it be at the state, the federal, the state, and definitely at the local level, have a right to say, listen, this is in the benefit of my citizens. I'm pulling the trigger, I'm making the call.
Absolutely, and they get to do that for 7 days. Per the statute. Which is why, Michigan City did this July 23rd.
Yeah.
The mayor issued an executive order. It was formal, it was in writing. We got a press release, insufficient. And so that executive order lasted for 7 days, which is why on the 30th, if you follow the news, their mayor, Mayor Perry, had to come before the Michigan City Common Council and ask for an extension. And in his extension, he changed the executive order where it only covered the parking lot area of the beach, not the residential area, so that the locals who live there would be able to enjoy the beach, which is why they bought the homes there in the first place, and paid a premium and pay a premium to do that. So my suggestion was simply that, first of all, it needs to be formalized in an executive order. That's the only way it's enforceable, and that's the proper way to do it. But more importantly, to accomplish our goals, they shot a missile at a gnat.
Yeah.
Right? All you had to do was close the parking lot. And simply that would have reduced your population tremendously.
Yeah.
And it would have the locals would have been able to. The way it's written now, you can't even walk on the beach. So I can walk on Oak Avenue. I can get a whole group. I can invite my colleagues. We can walk up and down Oak Avenue, and that's not a problem. But we can't do it on the beach where there's more space, more air.
Now, what about and maybe some of our residents, fellow neighbors out in the First District? I'm just playing devil's advocate. What if they would say, okay, yeah, you closed both of the beaches. Now we've got a problem where people, because you know that there were people that were starting to raise concerns about people parking in front of people's houses, getting very close to blocking private property. Now, would that have extended and created a problem in which residents would have awakened or come home and find that there are people who have had their cars parked and have walked about half a mile down to the beach just to access it?
3 words: ticket and
towing. I like it.
Because guess what? We're losing, and I prioritize public health. Let me be very clear about this, right? I have tremendous respect for Dr. Walker as well as Attorney McCain, right? And Eric Reed, right? All of whom were involved in this decision making. Not me. This was not my.
Right. This was him.
Nor was I asked about my opinion on it. But what I'm saying,
I'm going to go.
I get the public health piece of it.
Yeah.
But you simply ticket and tow, right? So we know we were making thousands of dollars in revenue.
Yes.
Which gets to another problem. We were only charging, I believe, $7. It may have been raised to $10 now for out-of-state folks. That's way too low.
Well, they just said yesterday on the show that they were going to, next year, it's going up.
Dramatic. It needs to go up
dramatic. Yeah, they've already acknowledged that.
Plus.
Yeah.
Because this is,
they didn't identify the fee, but they said it's going to go up dramatically next year.
It needs to. Yeah. Obviously, people who are residents of Gary should have a very low fee.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that.
Taxpayer.
But this is a tourist attraction. This is the #1 tourist attraction in the city of Gary, period. Right?
Well, yeah.
So we were bringing in $20,000, $30,000 and more a week in parking. and now, of course, not bringing in anything.
Right.
And so it's important that we take it in tow, and you make it serious, and you let people know that if you park illegally, you will be held responsible.
Yeah, okay.
So it's really not rocket science.
No, it is, and it's kind of a matter of perspective because there, like I said, you just had a lot of people, and I think you know that there are people that were seeing the license plates and seeing the overrun, and of course that just plays into the fears. I want to bring Ty, and I want to start with Ty. And I want to get you, Ron, because obviously this isn't about necessarily living out in the district. This is a city issue, and I want to get your opinions, Ms. Atkins. What are your thoughts about what happened at the beach?
About the beach specifically, you know, I kind of echo some of what Williams' comments are. I don't live in that area. I don't even frequent that area, right? So I don't have that type of.
Why you say it like that? Why you say it? Oh, here we go. 4th district versus the 1st.
Yeah, I think true.
I like that.
Let's be large.
To the central area.
She's like, I don't even frequent that.
But I will say this: like, there was concerns you mentioned about Tolleson Park being shut down.
Yeah.
So in comparison to how that was handled, you know, I did express concern to Mayor directly in terms of that as well.
Yeah.
But we do have, we are stewards of the city as well in terms of having to make sure that we make the best decision on behalf of the residents here. But I agree in terms of the manner and what it was done, it might have not been the best. Right. So
she says it a lot more nicely.
And she does. But let me tell you, I just got to give her her I got to give her her little props. She took that in there. Usually you don't hear people coming at 1st District like that. Go ahead, Ron. Weigh in, please.
Well, let me just say I was definitely surprised when I went out there because I didn't know the beach was closed.
Yeah.
And when I went out there, I seen the barricades, and I have never seen barricades like that throughout the city. We don't need barricade parades that type. And it was so many barricades and the detours that, you know, it was really an inconvenience more so than anything.
Yeah.
I understand there was a objective that the administration was trying to get, but I think it was overkill.
Okay.
I think could have been done, as William said, in a different manner, where we could have cut down parking to a certain limit, where we don't allow so many cars to come in, and just, you know, things that could have been totally done different on the Marquette side, on the Tolleson side. But I do see the issue that's at hand. We had a pandemic.
Yeah.
You know?
I gotta tell you, it was overrun.
Oh yeah,
it was.
Yes. Me and my wife went out there one day, and you know, we walked out there. It didn't seem like it was a lot of people out there, but once we got on the other side of the hill, where the beach was at, it was packed.
Yeah.
There's no social distance, things of that nature, and you know, we see now that the numbers are climbing, not just here, but in the Chicago region also too. So something has to be done, but we have to also consider the residents that live here also.
All right,
and especially the locals. I mean, look. We only get 8 weeks, really, of summer weather.
Right.
Because August is funny.
No, you're right.
And so a lot of people have kids that are at home all day that are restless, and it had become part of their routine as a family to walk down to the beach, you know, and enjoy. They're a family unit. So if they're spreading the virus with each other, then they're going to spread it, right? As long as they're staying within their family unit, or just individuals.
So what would you say to the administration? So what would you say to the administration that says, look, you know, everything you're saying is right, and nobody probably knows it more than we do, is because, you know, it's not often that the city of Gary kind of falls upon an income stream, which they did with this parking, and you basically only have till Labor Day, and then it ends, and so, you know, they didn't want to interrupt that little thing going on, but it just got too much, and we had to pull the string.
Well, I think you have to look at it from a variety of perspectives. Number one, like I said, just close the parking or reduce the parking.
Yeah.
But the other problem is you have no baseline. So that's the social scientist in me. So you close it for 2 weeks, so what? The numbers are going to continue to go up, not because of what happened at the beach, right? Yeah. So when we get to the 2 week mark, what do you say? This was successful because the numbers went down? Not going to be able to say that.
Okay.
Because we know that Flamingo is open, which I love, and all the other restaurants are open, which is you're far more likely to spread COVID at a bar inside of a tight restaurant, right? Or even the outdoor seating is super tight. So it's really inconsistent. And I get that's an easy target because you have people from out of state coming, but that wasn't the way to solve it. And my initial point is, what's your baseline? All right. So how many people in 46403 have COVID? Yeah, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks later.
No, I think
That's the only
fair.
way you can judge whether it's actually been successful.
By having the numbers available.
Yeah, otherwise you're just going to open it just for the sake of it. So you might as well just close it for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're really interested in it. So I think it was just a little bit of a knee-jerk overreaction.
Yeah.
And I've expressed that.
Okay.
In very similarly aggressive terms. So I hope that we can strike a balance.
Yeah.
You know, between public health and citizen quality of life.
All right, well, very interesting. We're going to go to phones in just a second. I want to also ask you about the mask mandate for the state of the city. How, as the council, are you all satisfied with how it's going on? Now, we're starting to see, and I believe this is a mechanism that you have to use it in the country, is that if you kind of go out here and mandate the mask and you really kind of enforce it in businesses, then people will find, because it's funny, a lot of people you don't see with masks, when they're going into the store, they can't go in the store. Isn't it crazy that they always got one in their glove compartment or their purse when they go back out? So it seems like that is a good way to try to go out here and make people mask up. But I want to get what you all think about that. I'll start with you, Ron.
I'm definitely in favor for everyone having to wear masks.
Yeah.
I was happy. I'm a frequent visitor of Menards.
Yeah.
Menards was like one of the first big box stores that definitely said you're not coming in unless you have a mask, and if not,
we got one over here.
99 cents
Yeah.
to buy your mask at the counter.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good move. We need to try and do everything we can to reduce this virus.
Yeah.
Having everyone to wear masks. I know at the beginning they were saying everyone don't need to wear masks.
Right.
I understood that. At that time we had a shortage of masks, and we were trying to make sure masks went to the right person.
Yeah.
They need them, but at this time, everyone needs to wear their masks and make sure that they're washing their hands.
Yes.
Regular. I just use some sanitizer. If there's soap and water there, use the soap and water first.
Thank you.
Use the sanitizer, when you don't have the option of getting the soap and water.
Yeah. Ty, what are your thoughts
No,
on it?
I agree. We did pass the ordinance that came to the council chambers of floor, if you will, since we're doing Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm with it 100%. What it means too. There are stipulations that the CDC has put out in terms of if you have certain health issues, etc. But I agree with that. And speaking of which, if you do come to the 4th District Summer Bazaar tomorrow, please, we are abiding to the ordinance, okay? We have GPD on site to enforce that as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so mask up.
Mask up. And Will, your thoughts?
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm Councilman Brewer is far more aggressive than me.
Oh, really?
I think that's where but I think certainly when you're in closed environments, right, where the air is recirculating, it totally makes sense. I think when you're out exercising, I'm probably not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want as much oxygen as I can get in.
Right.
And I think you have to wear them responsibly, because actually, if you wear them irresponsibly, you can have a worse effect.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, people are using the same mask over and over
Right,
and over
right.
again, using temporary masks for weeks at a time. They aren't built for that. And so you have to have a proper filter inside of a lot of these designer masks that people are making and buying.
Right.
They need filters in them
Yeah.
to actually be effective. So I think we're learning a lot about the mask
Yeah.
and what actually works.
And what doesn't?
But and what doesn't. So I think overall it's good. It's kind of interesting though, because when you go to restaurants, obviously you take them off when you're eating.
Yeah.
And so the question is, does COVID-19 stop spreading when you're eating? And
No,
that's
of
kind
course not. He's
just
just waiting over on the side of the building.
Everybody's at their table, and it's like, obviously you can't wear it while you're eating. So I don't know. It's an interesting
Let's go
situation.
to the phones. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council. Good morning.
Good morning, Councilman Godwin, Ty Atkins, and Ron Brewer.
Good morning.
I got something for two of you, because two of you represent me, one in the 1st District and one in the 3rd District, which Ron Brewer is all over the city. So I have some kind of problem. I don't know, maybe it has to do with lack of money. The park being one, and Glenn Ryan, I was just touched this last week. And, of course, I want to thank the mayor for that, because he was on, and he said somebody went out there right away as I called. So,
Okay.
for whatever reason, I'm glad that was cut, because that's a community that kind of stay in touch with when things not going right. Of course, they are calling their representative. So, but I own property there. So, Mr. Godwin, I just hope that you all would consider that. And also, these vacant lots, man. I mean, in the 3rd District, Ron, with you're over the whole city, and since you're at large, we need to do something about that. And probably I need to take you on a little tour of some areas in the 3rd District, and not only my precinct, but in the 3rd District. I don't know. the former sheriff, he used to come in and cut these vacant lots, and of course that was great. But I don't know if they have a plan, and so I'll leave that up to you all to find out the plan if the city's not doing it, if the county somehow could do that, and that goes with the park as well. So okay. I'm gonna hang up and let you respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just say, Chairman, first about the cutting of the parks and the park got cut right away.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to happen that way. The park should be on some type of rotation. Mm-hmm. It should be posted when the park is going to get cut. The neighbors should know on Thursday they come to cut the park. It shouldn't be that the citizens are calling, now they complain about a park, and now we jump and cut the park. No, that park should be tiered. Yeah. I mean, one time we talked about tiering the park. Yeah. What tier is the park? You know, is it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? So the residents should know when that park is being cut. Is it being utilized on a regular? These type of things that residents should be engaged in. And I know the part that Mr. Matlock is talking about is definitely in a neighborhood that's full of residents and things of the nature, and it should be considered one of the number one tier. If I would tier the park, should be inside the number one category where it's being cut on a regular.
Well, let me ask you this.
So many residents.
Because the administration has talked about something that has been used and utilized by other administrations, but this one is it's part of their reimagine. So what they're thinking about is adopting parks and trying to urge people to go out there. They got a corporation that they say is going to adopt one park, and that kind of.
But we've been doing it, Jeff.
It's an adopted park program.
This is the adopted park program that's been in place for years,
yeah.
You know. But okay, but we should know which park people have adopted. Still, that.
And you're still saying the city does have an obligation to still go out here and cut it.
Okay. To cut the lots, and it should be on a rotation as every park inside the city. I believe Mr. Godwin could speak to Miller. He probably knows when they cut Miller Park, but I think it may get cut at least once a week out there.
Yeah, it's true. But we also got volunteers out there and organizations
but
that
the
take
park
care.
itself has a contractor that cuts it once a week, and I think we all can just say we have never went out there and seen the grass up to our knees out there. I mean, that's just one part you can speak of.
Yeah, yeah.
I can speak of Towson Park, where me and Miss Maglock lives in Towson. It's terrible out there right now. Yeah. You know, trees have fallen for weeks and months. Dead. I mean, this tree is really rotted out and dead. It's just laying on the ground there. Trees are so low, a kid can run, get poked in the eye. Things of these nature here. And these are parts that we're not just talking about. They're just sitting there off to the side. No one utilizes them. Towson Park, we all know it's a park that everybody uses. They have different reunions there. Yeah. It's a place where a lot of people have a lot of gathering. It has one of the nicest basketball courts that we have inside the city, where a lot of people come and use it. But the park itself looks terrible.
Well, is there a citizens organization, a Tolleson group, neighborhood organization that it kind of can be, go out there and kind of do it, and then maybe the city kind of, reinforces it?
I don't think it is one like it is out in
not like the MCC and stuff like that. Okay, yeah.
Or the Garden Club out there.
Yeah.
That's a strong group of individuals that work out there, and I always commend those groups out there. But I don't believe we have a group in the 3rd district that works, that does that. It's a tremendous task.
And you're right, and there are a lot of seniors and people like that, and ask them to go out there and regularly cut. I accept that. Quickly, we want to go ahead, Natalie.
Okay.
One for each of them, and I'm gonna take this.
All right.
Okay.
Is this what?
Visual aids.
The guy, this one here is the one on Virginia. Is this the one?
Yeah, that's one.
This is the one on Virginia, right? I know that one.
And I know Mr. Matlock talked about the vacant parts, and we're looking to do a little something ourselves as council members to move some funds around, to give each council member some funds to help with the vacant lots there, and hopefully by the next council meeting, so we can put on the agenda where we can get those funds out to the council members.
All right, go ahead now.
Okay, very quickly here. Now, recently, there was a big to-do about all that grass that was left over there on 25th Avenue, and then someone went back and cleaned it up, and we don't know who. Now, there's this whole thing that's going on about Cleanscape. Nobody really knows who these people are. We don't know where they're supposed to be cutting. We don't know how that went through without an RFP through other people. So we need you to address that whole issue in terms of that. They were supposed to have been hiring people. We haven't heard about a hiring thing. When are they going to hire people? And are they going to have some bigger equipment that's more industrial rather than a lawnmower that could cut my front yard? So those are some of the issues that I'm getting phone calls from people as they talk about what's going on around the city. The other thing is, have they identified the areas? And if you're looking at some of these areas that are going to be cut and cleaned. Now, as I went around the city to take these pictures and take others, If you look back up in the woods, there are blocks of woods in the city. There are abandoned structures up in there that the trees have covered up. Well, and those to me would be high priority because of the fact that all sorts of things could be hidden up in there that we don't even know about. So how soon are you going to address that issue? This one issue, the front page of this, there's some senior citizens that live on that block. This has been like this, and I know for a number of years, and they've called people several times to get it cleaned up. They even had tickets to the other 311 service or whatever the service is that we're offering, and no response. No one ever came out. There's an avenue, a street, that if you're in the street, don't be there after sundown because it's so much overgrowth, and it's an avenue. And the picture is in here where it's identified. You can't even see the street signs, okay? So as we go along and we start talking about cutting, you got to talk about growth because eventually this stuff grows up to be trees and bushes, and it's not even right off of our downtown area. It's something got to do. Ron, I met you. When I met you, you were on this trek. You were telling the city council every day what they had to do. So I think we need to get creative in terms of having people come in. We need to advertise the city that people can build here, that you can get these companion lots, and that we can do more. We're not selling ourselves, and you can't sell yourselves with a look like this. As we talk about the different cleanups, you can't keep doing it when people are going back and they see, oh, here's a clean space and I'm going to dump something. We got to do more and we got to do better. I understand that, but I'm getting my 15 minutes of fame here. but I just want you to take a look at this. And
yes.
Virginia Street had a fire. I thought that that they didn't clean this up. The stuff is still sitting over there, just like it was. How do we do that? I mean, a whole block.
I agree.
Makes no sense. Okay, and please address this cleanscape because people want to know about the Harry and all of that.
All right, there you go.
And Natalie, I say all the time, it's more than just 9 people that run the city. You have police, you have code enforcement, you have other departments that ride past and see exactly what you just seen and gave us. And I ask the question a lot of times, what do people do?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just the norm that we all just continue to ride past this and say, oh, they'll get it, or assume the next person's going to get it, or who reports what? I had a car right down the street from my mother, matter of fact, it's turned the wrong way, and when the family comes, they all turn the wrong way. So I told the police officer, it was at a disturbance 2 doors down, hey, can you make sure you go over and talk to them and tell them about the car and everything? I asked the neighbor, he said, no one came over here. So, we have to take pride ourselves, elected officials, public safety, the administration, we all have to do our part. And we just can't sit back and maybe I shouldn't be doing it, but sometimes you get so fed up with the way your city looks. I get out of my car and I go knock on doors and I say, hey, you're in violation. I'm going to have code enforcement come out here, but I want to give you a chance to clean this up. And it works. I haven't had anyone say, get off my property, I'm not going to do it. A lot of people just don't know, and because they're so used to the city not finding and not coming back and rechecking and doing different things, they feel like it's the norm. Yeah. But we have to get to that point where we are constantly being on top of these type of violations inside our city.
But do you know, in this picture here, senior citizens on the front page, they live on this block. Guess what they told me? They said the only help that they've gotten is because they have neighbors on either side of them that moved in from Illinois. And they come help them with their yards and different things like that. So we let the Illinois people come in to do this. They're coming in and people are willing to work here. But we got to get a plan, and it's got to be more. What's the city's budget? What's going to go on with all of this?
All right.
You can give me on my tangent here.
Well, I'll just quickly say.
Go ahead, Will.
That as it relates to clean slate, I'm familiar with how it worked in Chicago. I'm not sure the dynamics of it. There's been no formal presentation to the council about it. And so I think it cost about $250,000 or so is what we were told. I'm not sure how it was issued without an RFP.
What are you talking about? Clean slate?
Clean slate. I'm assuming it was a professional services contract, which the administration can take.
I think it was 1.4 or something, wasn't it?
I think it was less than, maybe over a 4-year period.
Yeah.
But just for this year, I know we were told that I thought it was $500,000.
Yeah.
And I was told it's actually going to be $250,000. So I think there's a lot of questions, and we can certainly ask and find out what's happening with that.
I also think that the mayor comes on the show.
Yeah. He would have got this before you guys.
So I just when he comes back, I definitely think that you should engage him in conversation as well, so that he's aware of it, because he will have the concrete answers in terms of how the program works, who was contracted, et cetera. And so we learned about it through a press release. I know I did.
Me too.
Right?
Yes.
So that information was not brought to the council. I just want people to understand it. They think that we aware, we learned about it the same way the public did, right? But definitely, I actually brought up that question in our public meeting last week to Attorney McCain, and he did say that he would get back to me and let me know about the pipeline, because my question was not about the initial acquisition of the contract and how it was awarded, but it was more so about what's the plan, what's the targeted areas, what has already been done, how do we communicate to constituents, like, when their area is going to be targeted. And I think that's important in terms of like the cycle of the program.
All right. Let's go ahead and get some phone calls. We got a lot of callers that have been holding for a minute, so let's get to them. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council. Good morning.
Well, I agree. This is Bill Kaye, and all I'm going to ask people to do, and this is on us as citizens, three things. Mask up, roll up, census up. Gary's answering under 50%. You know, if they close the census today, we have under 40,000 people. You know, I understand we got problems. Everybody got problems. But we start at the beginning. If we vote, if we put a mask on when we're in public, and if we answer the census, we're going to make a huge step towards solving this. The virus is out of control in the whole country. It's out of control in Brazil and Russia. That's where 80% of the world's cases and deaths are coming from. Now on the beach, and the president shows no leadership. He kicks it to the governors. The governors kick it to the local areas. So beaches should be closed in Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois. You can't. Diseases travel. They traveled all over the world very quickly. You can't control a disease by saying a beach 10 miles away can be open, another can be closed. And I just wish you as political dignitaries, and I know Brewer real well because I live in the 1st District. Last year he spent hours out here with a group. He was loved and welcomed when he come out here in Miller and Lake Spring.
Yeah.
There left their church a whole day, and people were bringing him presents, honey.
Man of the people.
Look at him.
I know Ron with the cleanup committee and everything.
All right.
He's really active, but he's still one person. It's up to all of us, our citizens, to do three things: mask up, vote up, census up, and do it now. Because if you don't do it now, you may forget about it. Because it's going to, if November's coming and the census is closing in October, so I'm going to get off the phone because you have a ton of people want to talk to you about it.
Thanks, Bill. Let's see. Let's go to the phones. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Ron. Good morning, William. And good morning, my girl. She is really going to town in the 4th District. I am so proud of her. You just don't know. That building over there, I have been fighting so long, sweetie. That was a gentleman, a black gentleman, that spent his money to build that building. Okay? And when I lived across the street, I tried really hard to Ron knows I did. Now, how do you go, girl? I'm so proud of you. Ron, I need help.
I'm going to call you, my dear. I'm going to
And let me just address.
839 East 13th Avenue. The city owns it. I need somebody out here.
All right, my dear.
15th Avenue, Ron. The address next to it is 1478 East 15th Avenue. It looks like the city junkyard. Please come and look.
All right, my dear.
And let me just say, I want to say to Medea that we are following up on the issue in terms of the car that's out of control. And I have a police officer who's looking into it.
Yeah.
So I know Medea has her hand on the whole city. But we are looking into that issue with both the code enforcement issues as well as the public safety issues.
Yeah.
Because we do have some residents that unfortunately act like they can just do whatever they want to do.
Oh, yeah.
And they use guns and other tactics to prevent people from saying anything to them.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage Medea and other people. Now, you know, Councilman Brewer is much more hands-on than a lot of folks. But
tried to stay yesterday.
You trying to see what's going on.
You know, I think it's with some of these neighbors, unfortunately, we do live in violent times. Don't necessarily, I wouldn't approach some of these folks.
Okay.
You know, maybe say something gently, but things can get way out of hand, and we don't want anyone.
Yeah, we got mechanisms.
You know,
311, all those kind kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let the police do their job.
All right. Let's go to the phones. Call, how you doing? Thanks for holding. You're on with the Gary Common Council.
Good morning. How are all of you this morning?
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm a resident of the 3rd District. However, I do frequent the 4th District quite a bit, and Councilwoman Atkins is doing a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to discuss a few things. I want to give the council members a slight counteracting as a season strength. There seems to be some discord between the administration and the council members, and I don't mind you disagreeing with the issues. I don't mind that. That's what you're there for. However, I don't like the fact that you all have meetings and you don't have the correct information, or if you just hearing about it when I hear about it, that shows a lack of cohesion. You can run the city effectively if you all are not on one accord. Now, that's on my soapbox. I'm going to move on to Charleston Park. I've lived in Charleston area all my life. So I'm really concerned about the park, and I have written letters to administration last year, and it got a little better. However, it's not managed good like Marquette. I have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. They did cut the grass, but there's trees growing everywhere. I want it to look like Marquette, as all of the parks should look. Mm-hmm. So, the question was asked, yes, to give you a little policy history 101.
Okay.
Our area is one of the most elderly populated areas. Mm-hmm. I can't get out there and clean the park like folks do in Miller. Therefore, I call the administration to do what I can't do. That's why I need to advocate. I can't get out there and do physically what they are doing. Mm-hmm. But I am looking forward to that, and they did say that we will have someone that's going to adopt the park. I would like to know who that is and how soon will the adoption be concerned. You all have a good day.
Thank you very much. And I think that's a valid point, you all. I mean, listen, when you pay taxes, you should expect a certain amount of services. So I think that was a very fair call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With the park over there, she definitely hit on the head. But I want to speak on as far as us getting the information on the timely fashion, and why we do get into a lot of squabbles, on the floor a lot of times. But you have seen in the past what we have done, we have sent things back to committee.
Yeah.
It's just impossible for us to get documents the same day and go through those documents, and we have sent it back to committee where it delays a project or whatever. So we're putting our best interest in of the people forward to make sure that we're making the right decisions. Mm-hmm. So we're not getting information in a timely fashion. We're making sure we take the time to read those documents and we send it back to committee.
Now, you've been on the council a minute, and I think this is a question that a lot of people, what's a good turnaround time for you? Because it is real. You all have other things going on. It's a part-time job. You do take this seriously. I heard you talk about it, Ty. It's a full-time job, really, with obligations, because there's always something going on. So it's fair to ask, when you get, I'll start with you, Ty, what is a good turnaround time? When would you feel that it's a good time? Do you need a day, 2 days? I mean, really to receive, whatever the legislation is, or the proposals, to review it, and then maybe even do some research on areas that you might not be familiar with, so you can educate yourself and then make an informed decision and then send it back.
Yeah, so, Brewer, you might correct me if this is wrong, but I believe just by our process, or maybe even by statute, right, we are to receive the agenda for the following week, as well as respective legislations to review by Friday at noon, right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we do receive it a few hours after noon on Friday, but that will allow us at least, over the weekend going into Monday to research, to, probe a little bit more in preparation for that. I do not like receiving amendments, changes, an hour, 2 hour, even the day
during
of.
the council meeting.
Even the day of, and so I remember more recently people had probed, because one of our colleagues, this is Councilman Lay, he didn't receive, or he hadn't checked his email, that day around 3 o'clock. The email was sent at like 2:59. Right. So how do you expect us to be well versed in terms of what the new changes in the proposal was when you send in 2 or 3 hours before? We understand certain times, if it's pressing issues, but when it's a reoccurring thing, and for me, I feel like it's been reoccurring over the last couple of months.
Go ahead.
That's a valid point.
Yeah, I echo my colleagues, and I think that the planning is key, right? And the concern is that when you get stuff last minute, people feel like, is there something in there
Yeah, I know.
being hit? And I'm not accusing the administration of that.
No, but that is always the
But that's
rule
the
when
concern.
somebody, you always feel somebody trying to slip something by you because they know you don't have time to read it.
Right, especially when you're talking about third and final, right?
Yeah.
Because if we vote on that, it becomes law upon the mayor's signature. And so it's a lot of documents. And some of these things are a lot of pages, a lot of words. And so you can't honestly have said that you've reviewed all of that when you're getting it 10 minutes before you vote on it. And so, because we've had some of this stuff be sent during the council meeting.
Really?
And I recognize that we have done, I think, a great job of trying to do our best through Zoom.
Yeah.
Right? And having our meetings virtually. Everybody's not there. So it's kind of hard to get stuff sometimes or be able to communicate in the way we normally would.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones and get some of the callers that have been holding. Let's see. Caller, how you doing? Good morning. You're on with the Gary Common Council. Turn your radio down.
Good morning, everyone.
Your radio. You have to turn your radio down.
Good morning, everyone. Listen, this statement will be for the first district council person. They had, I guess, between 15th and 13th in Virginia, since the disciples had a dance or shindig or whatever you want to call it. It looked like it went off fairly well. My complaint was they should have blocked off a lot more areas than they did because you had traffic that was still trying to go through on 13th Avenue. That being said, this is not the first time that they've had an affair there, but every time that they've had an affair, I've noticed that they have cleaned up very well, kept that lot looking good. Another statement is there's a trash bin on the 1400 block of Maryland. That is one of the best ideas they've had this year. And as funny as it seems, the trash bin was in there for like maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And within the third day, you could see where trash was all the way almost to the top.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make those statements to really appreciate the 4th District Council person. Everybody has a lot of compliments for her. She's doing a damn good job and continue doing what you're doing.
All right. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh.
Thank you so much. Just in agreement to it. It's a pleasure to serve the 4th. You know, I am homegrown in the 4th District. My family has been on Connecticut Street. My grandfather built that house, right?
Yeah.
And so it's sentimental to me to come back and be able to do that. So when I receive the love, it makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, okay.
It makes the 3 hours, the 4 hour meetings all worthwhile.
And she don't mess with the 1st District.
I mean, I'm just saying, we go out there with it. But definitely, if it's okay, definitely want to give kudos to Sin City. They do have, I don't know if this was their cabaret, but I know they have an annual event, and they do, it's a motorcycle organization, so sometimes that has a certain, cognizance to it.
Yeah.
But they are definitely staples within the community in the Midtown area. They've always been either on Broadway or on Virginia Street, and they do, they are active members in terms of keeping the community clean, et cetera. So I do appreciate that. As it relates to that dumpster, we did have dumpster days in the Midtown area. I did 4 different weekends. So we had, the 4th District is large, so we had phase 1 and 2 for the east and phase 1 and 2 for the west side. I do think this location that he's mentioning might be a private one, but I'll circle over there to see if it's still there, because I think he said it's been there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we are actively, all of us have, incorporated some type of dumpster day initiative, cleanup initiative, trying to partner with General Services, because it is a priority for all of us, right? So thank you for acknowledging that, and we'll continue to move forward. I know Councilman Godwin is probably going to announce the event that he and I are partner on.
Look at him. That's your cue.
Right. I have to make sure I get it right. So,
they say you always doing the community event, so I'll let
he's the best.
Their shine on that.
The Emerson Blitz. We both share Emerson. I have about half of it. She has probably a little bit,
Basically,
about half of it as
yeah.
well, the 1st and the 4th districts. And so what happens sometimes, we both feel like, I know I certainly feel like, and the residents of Emerson feel like they get overlooked.
Yeah, they do.
Because, you know, in the 1st district, people say it's all about Miller, right? And then you get Edna and Glen Ryan, and sort of Emerson is split.
Or they didn't know that they were part of the 4.
Exactly.
I think
I don't know which
previously
district.
they were always
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
first.
Right.
So we're going to have an Emerson Blitz on Thursday, August the 20th. From 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. at Art House.
Yeah.
And so this will be an opportunity for citizens to engage responsibly with resources, whether it's the census. I believe the Calumet Township Trustee Office will be there. There will be vendors who will be there and fill in with other folks.
Sure. So I think more importantly, we just want to engage those community partners that are already nested in the Emerson area to get those residents.
Faith CDC.
Correct.
Faith Farms.
Faith
Faith
Farms will
yeah.
be there.
Curtis,
You
my
know,
boy.
We're also going to extend an invite to St. Monica and Lou.
Yep.
Yes.
Family Life Community Center, who's nested on 5th in Massachusetts. And more importantly, the Emerson area has targeted developments that are in the pipeline. So one of them is Broadway Lofts, that has been a conversation piece within the council. So NVH Partners, who is the developer for that particular project, will be there to engage with the community to answer any questions. And again, it is a targeted Emerson effort, but it is open to all residents. So if you have any questions about that development, we've also extended an invite to Community Help Net. So hopefully they will be there as well. And then as well as the Gary Railcats Association, which is also a part of the downtown Emerson area. So that was the deal. I think on that day too, we will announce dumpster days for the Emerson area as well. So he and I will be working together to identify some targeted locations to have, dumpsters and cleanup efforts probably scheduled the following week.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's exciting. I don't think anything like this has happened in Emerson in a long time.
Yeah.
Not blaming our predecessors,
At all,
but I think
right.
it's just kind of a new, renewed effort to try
No, I
to.
think that's cool,
bring
and
more
particularly
efforts
getting
in.
2 councilmen together that
Right.
split that area and kind of throwing something for
I
them.
did want to say something really quickly
Go ahead.
about sort of general services issues, period. One of the things, and I didn't get to respond to it, but Mr. Matlock called about the Glen Ryan Pavilion
Yeah.
Park. What we're going to do later this month is have myself as well as someone from code enforcement, the police department, and the parks department to basically walk the neighborhood and identify these concerns that residents have raised. And I want to do something similar in Edna as well as in Miller and Emerson, where we work with key influencers. You know, every neighborhood has a few people who sort of ring the alarm, if you will, and we want to walk the neighborhood with them to identify these issues. Look, I tell people you can call and complain to me over and over and over again, but ultimately what I have to do is then go to the administration.
Yeah.
And go to code enforcement, go to the buildings department, go to the police department, et cetera, in order to really get anything done.
Well,
So let's just bring all the people who are relevant to this into the neighborhood so we can walk and identify the issues, have a checklist, and then follow up on it. So we're going to do that in Glen Ryan later this month and do something similar probably in September for Etna, both east and west of Clay, to really identify a lot of these concerns.
Now, because some people are talking about this right now online about general services, and you all have referenced this a number of times, and I get the opportunity to talk with the administration as well. What is the disconnect about generals? Because from what I hear, general service, I know they're trying to revamp code enforcement. It is a process. They've got a lot of things on their plate. And they're trying to divide things into quadrants from what and get some kind of mythology going to how they go throughout here. Same thing with general services, and I'm sure they would say, listen, we would appreciate a little bit more cash or a little bit more help from the council to go ahead and get more people in the employ.
I certainly agree, because the first district for over 18 months has not really had a dedicated person. I think we may kind of have one now.
Yeah.
And that makes it difficult. I mean, people assume that the first district, I guess, doesn't have as many challenges. But part of the problem is that some of this is grant funded.
Yeah.
And so you have to have a certain median income or in these neighborhoods. And we happen to have, maybe I'm part of that problem.
Yeah. Look at you, Mr. Tax, Mr. Tax Return.
We have some property tax dollars that are pretty high.
Oh my God.
In the Miller area, which kind of throws things off. Right?
Yeah.
And so, but in Miller and Edna, Glen Ryan, and Emerson, we have tremendous challenges.
Yeah.
We have a very active population that's out, and they see these issues,
Yeah.
right? And so they want something to be done about it. I want something to be done about it. So I'm in this year's budget. I will absolutely not vote for a budget that does not have a full-time person that's solely committed to the first district. I love my Councilman Dwight Williams in the 6th district. I think right now we're sharing somebody with Morningside, but we need to have someone that's focused on it. And look, I'm not about comparing and being competitive between districts. But,
oh, really?
But,
look at Todd's face.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal. We bring in more people from around this region.
You know you're making people hate you.
No, but I'm just saying, and this world. So
in the world.
Let me explain.
Look at that.
We have. Let me say this. Let me say this. So there are about over 50 Airbnbs in Miller alone.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know many of the people who own those Airbnbs, and we have visitors from Europe. We have visitors from Asia who are coming to Chicago, but they choose to stay in Gary, in the Miller neighborhood, to enjoy the beach, to use the train.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is that we, for many people, are the face. The Miller area is the face of the city.
Should we be saying this? I grew up here.
No, but let me be clear. Let me be clear.
I grew up here. It doesn't sound right.
I don't care if
I lived in Miller all my life.
No. What I'm saying is this, right? No, but here's what I'm saying.
You can't say that.
Now, let me say this. For many tourists, for many of the tourists who use 12 and 20,
I understand.
and coming to the city, the places that they're going to the beach.
Yeah.
Right? So we know, obviously, we had to close the beach because there were so many people coming.
Well,
right?
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if we want to leave a positive impression, obviously all over the city.
Thank you.
Right? However, we know that we have an unusual, an inordinate number of people who are coming into the first district.
We're going to talk
We
later.
want to make sure that we should at least have one person.
We got to talk.
But what I'm saying is right now, the first district doesn't have a full-time person.
No, you're right. We don't.
Every other district does. So at the very least, we should have a full-time person. That's all I'm saying.
Let me give a shout out to one of your other colleagues who's not here, but she's watching you all. She's from the 5th District, Linda Barnes Cardwell. She's got Dumpster Day 2 coming up August 28th through August 31st. Ridge Road in Pierce. 3477 Calhoun Street, 2120 Madison Street, Ridge Road in Taft, 3850. The address to that is 3852, 2512 Maryland Street and Ridge Road in Virginia, the North. So she's listening to you and she's giving shout out to her colleagues.
Come check out my colleague, District Councilwoman Linda Barnes Cardwell, tomorrow at the 4th District Summer Bazaar. She'll be there selling her mask and some more items that she has.
Yeah.
Oh, it's at 12 o'clock, 12 to 4 again, 18th and Broadway on the west side of the street.
Yeah, she and Ron were out there yesterday doing good work.
Good.
Yeah. Let's go out here and get some phone calls. Thanks for holding. We're going to go through them quickly. Caller, how you doing?
Okay, here we go quickly, Jeff.
Well, we're coming up to the end of it.
Yes, I know you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. This man, the young man said something about somebody used a gun or something when they were cutting the grass.
Yeah, I've had calls of residents pulling guns out on people who complained to them about their grass and other concerns, and so.
Now wait. He actually put out he had a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one person called in and said that the person had a shotgun and they were waving around and shooting at night.
All of a sudden, you man, somebody going to prison if they kill somebody with that damn shotgun.
Okay, all right. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well.
Hey.
I just have a comment. I have a pickup truck, and lately, to stand busy, I've been going through neighborhoods, and I'm helping residents clean up. And they load my truck up. I take it to the area where you dump at. But the problem we're running into is you can only dump 3 times a month. So I think if our council can address that, you can only dump there 3 times a month. So that makes an issue. And the other problem, I think we need to come up with a way to let everybody know that you can dump for free. Because I see items laying on the street right by the dump there. If you drive down 15th Avenue, and it's right close. I think these individuals may not know you can dump for free or they're from out of town. So if we can possibly address that in some manner, I think that'll be helpful too. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
With the dumping of 3 times a month, that is true. But also what we have implemented in that was from the previous administration, and we're still doing it now. You can sit out one bulk item with your trash every week.
Yeah.
You can do it. So you have a mattress set. You can sit the whole mattress set out. You got a couch. You can sit the couch out, and they'll take that.
Yeah.
And if you
Just
have-
one though.
Just one.
Yeah.
Well, with the mattress, you core through the mattress and the box spring.
Okay.
They'll take both of those at the same time.
Wow.
Now, it's not the couch and the love seat.
Oh,
Those
okay.
two
All
don't-
right.
Want to make that clear.
Okay, make it clear, because somebody be having the whole.
That is one thing, but you know, when we start opening up our dump and just allowing everybody to, allowing people just to dump, you get people that come and they do jobs.
Right.
And they'll take advantage of the system. We have had that done before, so that's why we had to go to the
But what about showing the ID? Wasn't that a requirement? You
Yes,
go out there and they
it's
look at
a
your
requirement.
zip code?
It's still a requirement now.
Yeah,
Yes. For
yeah.
year residents, you get to dump free for
Okay.
3 times a month.
All
Yes.
right. Let's go and get these calls. We are getting close to the end, but we're going to try to get these last calls in. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey.
I would particularly like to thank my 4th District Councilwoman for her efforts to do grass cutting for the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
It has been especially helpful, especially since I've been able to get rid of the rodents that my neighbors had that was eating up my garden. And then also, if anybody on the council knows anything about a particular project that is supposed to be happening, they were looking at the west side of 25th and Chase, the Lake Sandy Joe area and all that area around there. It's supposed to be some type of redevelopment project. I was wondering if it has been put on a stop or anything like that, or is it still moving forward, and if it has anything to do with environmental, because the 4th District is planning on having a self-sufficient urban farm and homestead, since it is considered the small farms area.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are continuing to do a project and it has something to do with environmental, we would like to know, because then that would give us the opportunity to move the urban farm and homestead idea to another location.
Oh, okay. Good job, Andrea. Thank you. Go ahead, Todd.
I don't know about that one. I
I'm
think
not
we
aware
should
of any project that's taking place
on
over there.
25th and Chase.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So maybe if she can leave her information.
I think that was Andrea Ledbetter.
That was.
Okay,
That was.
okay.
Okay. So I can get back to you, Andrea Ledbetter. What I'll do is, I know we do have a commissioner or two who's actively engaged in the redevelopment commission, and he does provide us with some
Okay.
updates. So I know that we just recently got an email. I haven't taken a look at it. I'll see if it's in there, and if not, I'll connect to them and then get back to her.
Excellent. Let's go and get this phone call. Caller, how you doing? Thanks for holding. You're on with the Gary Common Council.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. We're fine. Go ahead.
Good. So this question is for Ty. I am and actually, hi Ty, Ronnie, and Will.
Hey.
From Smart Smoothie. How are you guys
Is
doing
that Kiki?
today?
That's Kiki Janae. Miss Smart
Hey,
Smoothie.
girl.
Yes.
So I am calling. Of course, you guys know I tell you guys and I see you guys. Great job on the changes that have been implemented since you guys have been around. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I know you guys. I'm so grateful to be able to watch things change actually occur before my eyes. And on the flip side of that, I actually have some questions for you guys. I have been closed. The gym is open. I have been personally told that I can't open by someone that is refusing to provide notification. I haven't received any notification from the city about when the gym is going to be open and how things are going to be going. I'm out here in the dark. Who can help me get some answers?
Okay.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I got you, because I think she was referring to that she heard the gym was open, and she has been told she could not reopen, and she's a little bit in the dark. She's she's being told different things, and she was
Hudson
wondering.
Campbell.
Hudson Campbell. Yeah, that's where she's based.
Well, we can
Was that
ask,
your question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, go ahead. Give her some.
well, we can ask Mr. Reeves, who's over the Parks Department.
Right.
With Hudson Campbell would fall under to work on that. I don't see why she wouldn't be able to be open, given that the facility is, I think, partially
Yeah.
If the
open.
facility's open,
And,
and especially if she had a contract,
right. So,
Yeah.
and I know that obviously we have restaurants and smoothie places that are at other locations in the city that are open. So I think that she should be able to be open, but
Well,
we can follow up and see what's going on.
Yeah, they're. I just got a text from some people in that administration, so I think they're going to try to reach out and get to her.
Good.
All right, let's go to the phones. Caller, how you doing? You're on with the Gary Common Council.
I'm great. This is such a good conversation. I would like to know about Gardens, West Carolina, and that area. It's the seniors building, and if it could be cleaned up around that area. If there's tall trees, tall weeds,
Yeah.
and also there's some dumping behind Gardens, West Carolina. If we could address that.
Okay, thank you very much.
I can take that one. So Gardens of Carolina is located in the 1st District side of the Emerson area.
Yeah.
I do note that the GO team, I think is the correct term of it, from like the clean slate side of the administration, was just out in that area maybe about 2 weeks ago. From my understanding, they're coming back to that area, but as a part of the Emerson Blitz project that we just talked about, we'll make sure that dumpsters will be out there for residents to use, and then we'll also engage the general service team so that they can do some efforts on Carolina. And I'll be transparent. It's a lot, right? So that area, my area, people, I want them to know, hey, next door to me, my block, there's probably 12 homes on there, but only 2 of them looks like someone could live in there, right? So I resonate with it. It's not like we're not removed from the struggles of the residents at all.
Right.
And I know specifically on Carolina, from 5th Avenue all the way to 8th, especially along the line of the rail line, it's a dumping hotspot. And so we'll do what we can to make sure that we're communicating the hotspots. I actually drive my district every other week, and I think you might have mentioned in terms of the communication with general services and how to improve that. I don't know, I feel like, the photos that Ms. Natalie brought, I send those in a spreadsheet with the hot pockets and try to give them an opportunity to kind of get information to me so I can let the constituents know, but that's not working. So we do need to figure out, how could we have informed conversations? I don't know if it's a monthly report out to the council so that we can understand where their target areas is. But that's something that we need to take initiative on. But as it relates to the lady's call, we'll definitely, Emerson Blitz is coming up, and then we'll make sure that general services is included in that mix when it comes to the 20th and then after that.
We'll get a couple more calls because we started a little late, and we want to give each of these wonderful council people who took, councilwomen who took time out of their day-to-day to go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Real quick, when you're taking this call, I had just got a text from someone that's not able to call it right now, and they asked a question. They say, any conversation between the council and the administration about police reform legislation?
Okay, go ahead. Have you all talked to them?
I myself haven't had any conversation with the administration about police reform.
Well, I have, and I'm not sure where it is. There was a couple community stakeholder meetings that I know I was there, as well as the public safety chair, Dwight Williams, and councilman of the 2nd District, Cozy Weatherspoon. So I know there was a timeline for a report to be released.
What is it that you all are looking for? Because I know I've talked with the administration and they're committed to it from what I've heard. What are you all trying to, what kind of agreement are you trying to get to?
I don't think there was legislation that was already that was teed up to do this. And basically, it's about citizen engagement on the police commission. I think that's some of the discussion, right? Making sure that it's actually independent people. Who are not necessarily appointed by the council or the mayor.
Right. No political affiliate.
Right.
Independent.
Truly of the community. So I think that's part of the
I think they
discussion.
want a civilian review board.
That's what they really want.
Right.
But I think that's part of whether you're going to do something like that or whether it's going to be a reform of the existing.
And you all just trying to hammer out the details. Is that it?
Right.
Are you for a civilian review board, or what are you against it?
I'm for a modified police commission.
Okay. Explain the difference to people out there.
Well, civilian review board is where you turn over the disciplinary piece almost exclusively to
the public.
Yeah. I think there's a role to play for folks who have a certain set of credentials and skill sets. I think that, look, most of our police officers do a phenomenal job. Right? They are safe, they de-escalate, they respect the citizens, and there are bad apples. And so I think that it's not about ganging up on the police.
Yeah.
And they have their interests too. They have their concerns. Because, again, the public has guns, right? We know that they're concerned about their safety. And so we want to have a balanced conversation where everyone is at the table, whether it's a representative from the Fraternal Order of Police, representative from the community, council appointees, mayor appointees. We want to have a full conversation and make sure that all sides are being considered. So I think modifying the existing commission to be more inclusive of residents would be good. I know that there's some discussions happening obviously around the country about ways to do that, even to the point of people running for a seat on essentially a police commission, where they can't get they can only get dollars from their district. It can't be any outside money involved. Limits the ability of special interests to get in there. So that it actually is people who are in the neighborhoods, right, who are representatives of their communities. So.
Interesting. We're gonna get one more call, and then I want to give these council people an opportunity to go out here and make some final statements. Caller, how you doing? You're on the Gary County Council.
Okay, look, I forgot you guys. Look, I really need you to pass this ordinance. When it comes to election, no more signs. They cannot come and get their signs. What makes them any different or any better than what you guys are? When you were running, you had to get out there and get your sign. Mr. Moore, you know and I know we really closed up them signs, okay? So my tip is, why do the citizens of Gary have to go through this mess when they still when I come and get the signs?
All right, well, thank you. Go. This is obviously about signs, and we know some of the ordinances. If the general election is November, so sometimes the winners can sit back and let them go. You do take your signs up, Ron. Well, you're out there handyman anyway. You're already working, so it's easy for you.
My signs were up, so I'm sure Councilwoman Atkins had her signs.
Oh, your signs are still up, Will?
No, my signs were taken last year when I ran.
Okay, all right. I was about to say,
Will. Oh no, I think that. No, I agree with Medea. It's very tacky. That people leave them up. I mean, some of these signs have been up since 2011.
And so I guess with the
buildings and all kinds of stuff. And more importantly, you don't see that in other neighborhoods.
No, so it's right. So I'll ask you, is there some way to enforce that? Just it's probably already on the books. You know it is.
I don't know if it's about election signs specifically, though, right?
No fines.
It's not fine. Then how come you have the rule that says you can't do signs 30 days before the election, and there's no rule on the back end that says you have to remove them a certain amount of time after election?
That's through the county, though, right? That's the election board rule, right? That's not like a municipal code.
No, we have a rule here.
We do? It's a municipal code?
There you go.
And I also think, common courtesy. If you know you put a sign out, and the election is over, why wouldn't you go pick up the sign?
Well, a lot of these signs are people that was not successful.
They get sour grapes and they're like, just leave it there.
I mean, the average person that win definitely going to try and get theirs. So a lot of people that was not successful, hey, let someone else do it. But it's a bad thing. I just ask people, just remember these people, as they run for office. You remember how they left your community, and that's how you pay them back.
Oh, look at Ron, the seasoned professional. Now, this is the last call because they've been texting. Caller, how you doing?
I'm doing great this morning, President, and good morning to all the council people.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, is my 4th district lady there?
She's right here.
Hey, how you doing? Let me tell you something, sweet. You're doing a great job. I don't know what kind of programs you got going with this grass cutting for people who can't cut their grass or who are past, senior age. Are you on that program, sweetie?
Talking about your program.
Your program.
With the grass cutting for seniors.
Yeah, it's over this month.
Okay.
It was totally funded by me. That is not a city program. Let's be clear. It was great. It
was wonderful. I tell you, because I cut my neighbor's yard, because I've been cutting it for years. I was so tired of cutting the grass. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you're going to do after this month.
Me either.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I'll have to start next year.
We're going to send Brewer over there. He got it.
Out of your pocket, that was a beautiful suggestion.
Oh, thank you so much.
What they say, that's all they got on there. We'll straighten it out. Well, you did just that for me. Now, when it comes to the 4th district and your safety, we have a new neighbor, ladies that just bought a home across the street.
I'm getting close on time, Ms. Levin.
And that light is out. I've told them every time we come on about that light. The street light is out, and we can't seem to get nobody to fix the light. Every time he comes, he says, I'm going to take care of it, but he ain't straightened it out yet.
He'll be over your house in 10 minutes.
Who will?
The mayor. No, I'm just saying.
Hey, and my daughter lives in this district, 6501 East 4th Avenue. There are exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 houses on the block. The one in the back of him, he don't cut his grass. The one on the side of him won't cut their grass. The one in front of him won't cut their grass. And the one right next to it, so there's only one person on the block cutting the grass, her and another man. What is up with that?
All right, Mr. Vetter, you just snitched on your daughter's street block.
Let's straighten it out, okay?
All right, there you go. Thank you very much. Oh, go ahead.
Miss Ledbetter house, and I know she always talks about her neighbor with the grass.
Yeah.
I've seen it all nice and manicured. I think Miss Ledbetter really been working out this year.
Oh, the daughter's going to drive home now, and all of a sudden there's going to be neighbors out there looking at her like, you got a big mouth. He's like, I didn't do it. But anyway, 45 minutes after the hour. It has been a great show today. We've been getting a lot of action online. A lot of people were engaged today, and a lot of substance. And I want to thank all of you all for taking time out of your days to come in here. Also, I want to thank a couple of the council people that were online watching, supporting the three of you. I think that was pretty cool as well. I want to start off, ladies first, of course. Go out here and tell us once again about your event that takes place tomorrow, and tell us some other stuff that we should be looking forward to.
Sure. Just 2 events coming up for the 4th District and for the citizens of Gary. I'm not going to do that. So tomorrow we are opening up and welcoming you all to come out and support some of the small businesses in our neighborhood. The location is going to be 18th and Broadway. It is the 4th District Summer Bazaar. This is my inaugural event. So hopefully next year and going forward we can make it larger and better. The time, you always get on me about the time. Let's forget that. The time is from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. And again, it's on the west side of the street, so located next to 1818 Broadway. This upcoming Tuesday, we have made some traction with our park project program, and we're starting with Carolina Park. So we're actually having a groundbreaking ceremony, 4 p.m. The address of Carolina Park is 1300 Carolina Street. So please come out. We did have an amazing donor and supporter who's a Gary native, who will also be in attendance for that, and we have a special presentation that day as well. I guess in terms of moving forward, just still working to identify opportunities, initiatives. Last year we outlined priorities for the 4th District for year 1.
Yeah.
So we will have a community meeting, probably via Zoom, in the month of September to kind of review that, and then we are entering almost Q4, right? And so it's kind of important to restructure and then figure out a plan for year 2. And that's about it.
There you go. Well, we appreciate it. That was Councilwoman Ty Atkins from the 4th. Go ahead, Ron Brewer, Councilman at Large.
Thank you, Jeff, and it's been a good show.
Yeah, we had fun today.
Been engaged very much. But I just want to bring an announcement about the CBA. We're going to be meeting 2 times this week, next week, on the 10th and 11th. But on the 10th is a meeting, it's more a community meeting, just discussing the CBA in general. We're going to talk about the existing CBA, and we're going to talk about some of the amendments that want to be made to it, and just have a hash out time at that meeting. There's really no set forth agenda for the Monday meeting that will happen at 5 p.m. It's a Zoom meeting, and the only discussion that we're having is the CBA.
That's it.
That's it. So it went a long time at the last committee meeting that we had, so I want to have something separate just to discuss the CBA, which we're going to talk about again Tuesday, where we're actually talking about the amendment to the CBA. But I think it's important because it's a large group, and it's a lot of us, so we want to hash out some things inside that meeting on Monday, and then Tuesday we'll talk about the amendment. So I would just ask they want to stay tuned to that on next week.
Well, we appreciate you, Ron.
Using these fancy acronyms.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
That's community benefits.
Because he's a veteran sitting up there. That's how that's politics.
Like, what is that?
There you go. They're like,
benefits is when basically folks are seeking tax abatements, which is what's happening with the Broadway loss, and so that means they don't want to pay taxes for a certain number of years, or pay less taxes. And so in exchange for that, we want them to.
I love Will.
We want them to contribute to our community. We want them to whole programming. We want them to invest in the community, whether that's parks, whether that's events. We want them to hire locally. We want them to use local contractors and all those kinds of things. So,
I love Will.
Councilman Brewer's all over it. And we have a group of folks, many of whom live in the first district, who have been pushing this.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that they stay involved and that their opinions are considered.
And there you go. That's my councilman right here.
Let me just say that we will have in the first district a Zoom meeting, community meeting on Thursday, August 20th.
Okay.
At 6:30 p.m.
No.
Our focus. Well, we can't do it on Thursday, August 20th. I can do it at 6:30. We're done at 6.
Okay.
What just happened here?
She's not gonna let me do it. She's like, you can't do that.
Our Emerson Blitz event is the same day.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
So we may have to make that 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 7 p.m. on August 20th.
Yeah.
We have a lot.
Tentatively.
We have a lot of meetings going on.
There you go.
And I think people see the stuff that we do publicly, but there's a lot of other meetings. So Thursday, August 20th at 7 p.m. We'll do a Zoom meeting focused on recycling, and as well as park concerns.
Oh my
so
goodness.
that will be kind of our focus: recycling, environmental issues.
Yeah.
We know that U.S. Steel is in the first district, and we have so many environmental and air quality issues, and we're going to highlight that.
Wow, look at that! Look at
So
you.
we'll talk about those things. And look, I'm just excited about all that's happening around the city.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the Emerson Blitz,
Yes.
which is going to be also Thursday, August 20th, from 4 to 6. Carolina Park opening on Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday.
Yeah,
Tuesday?
groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking for that. So we have good things going on, and I'm excited about all that we've been able to accomplish so far this year. Including this show. So we're going to keep it going and stay engaged. The next council meeting will be August the 18th at 6 o'clock p.m. also via Zoom. If you have any questions, call 219-881-1315 to get login information, to get the meeting IDs. You'll know anything that is going on in terms of public meetings.
Follow us on social media as well.
Right.
All right.
Gary Common Council, hit like.
Oh, you
That's right. That's
Inside
right.
of budget season,
Yeah.
so you know a lot of different concerns that people are talking about, especially a lot of blight and things.
Yeah.
That's one thing I want to see inside the budget. I want to see an aggressive approach how we're going to deal with blight inside our community.
All right. Well, once again, I want to thank the three of you. You all did a great
Thank you for
job.
giving
had
us some
fun
more
with that.
time. Don't send us a bill.
I know, yeah.
Taxpayer funded, so don't send us
I'm
any
not.
bills.
Listen, we're all right. We're good. All right, everybody. With that being said, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I want to thank them. We had fun today. I'm going to be out for just a minute. I'll be back at high noon for afternoon news. That's with Jeffrey Smith. Until then, everybody have a good one. We're out. Oh my goodness.